Alright, guys. Hello again. So, I took a little break, ate a little sandwich, did some life things. So we talked about this little series is going to just be about relationships and some of the core components, I guess you'd say. With that being said, I think the first thing that you need to think about, okay, and realize is that every relationship that you form that is healthy and appropriate and needs to thrive is going to have trust. You know, that sense of security and loyalty in your relationship, whether it be your best friend, your boss, your peer, whoever, your significant other. Every relationship needs that sense of loyalty and that ability to feel secure with that friendship or that relationship. That mom, that dad. I mean, just as babies, we learn that trust because our parents, if we fall, they help us get up and then they say go again. We start building the trust that that's going to happen. In relationships in general, what you have to think about is that trust is fundamental. Like, it is the key to any relationship. Because if you don't have trust, if you cannot trust that other person, boom, it's done. It's a way to know that they've got your back. It's 100% commitment. It's a one day time. It's like it's it. Trust is very important. Trust it helps so much with so many aspects and so many things. For example, if you trust your partner or your friend or your parent or your coworkers or your boss, it promotes some positivity in that relationship. It allows you to be more open and giving in that relationship. It allows you to be who you are and feel accepted and feel like there's a commitment there that is only empowered by, the trust that you have for each other, right? So if we can trust our peers, trust our relationships, trust our significant other, trust our spouse, whoever, it's just solid foundation. Because without trust, you really don't have anything, okay? If you don't have that trust, what you're going to see is that so many things are missing from that relationship. You have negativity. There's so much negativity. I mean, think about it. If you can't trust somebody, you're always questioning, you're wondering, you have to doubt, you have to think about it. It's so much negative work to have that relationship that it becomes almost non-healthy. Like, it's not healthy for you to carry around that negativity, right? It brings a sense of insecurity. Like, if you can't trust somebody, guys, been there, done that. So, like, I was cheated on and it killed my marriage. And what it did is when I said, oh, I'll go to marriage counseling because, that's who I am. What it did is, even with marriage counseling, I felt insecure in who I was as his wife, who I was as a person. It made me doubt everything that he says. It just created such insecure feelings. Like, was I right or was I wrong? Am I doing right? Am I doing wrong? Am I saying right? Am I saying wrong? Am I thinking, so much is just embedded in that insecurity of everything that you do or say. So that's a big component, If you don't have that trust, that insecurity is high and mighty, and it in itself will drain a person. With that being said, you get the increased depression and anxiety, worry, fear, like, oh God, I told my friend this. Can I trust them? Well, who are they going to tell? What are they going to say? How is it going to happen? Like, you got so much anxiety that comes with not having trust that it's just unbearable at times. Your depression very high because again, that insecurity, that level of, am I good enough? What happened? That insecurity, like, was I not a good enough friend? Did I do this wrong? It becomes very depressive. You're going to experience higher levels of anxiety and depression, both. They kind of go hand in hand. Also, if you don't have stress, you just have distress. Like when you're around that person, there's just distress. There's just so much mental, and it can be physical and emotional distress that you're uncomfortable, and your body will start showing that. And with that as well, when you don't have trust, what do you do? What do you do there? Well, what you're going to do is that you're going to end up having issues in life, issues in thinking. Your thought process that you once used to be free flowing is gone. Your concentration that you had on everything it's gone, because all you're concentrating now on is, am I able to trust this person? What are they doing? How are they saying it? What's happening? Are they doing this? Am I good enough? Like all that stuff creates big troubles with concentration. And loneliness. Dang. If you can't trust somebody, especially in an intimate relationship, okay? So like in my situation where I was cheated on, I felt so lonely after I found out. Again, we went to therapy. I tried. But I still felt so lonely because I doubted everything about myself. I doubted who I was. I doubted if I was good enough. I doubted that he wanted to be with me. I doubted that, if it was a possible doubt thought, I did it. And I was just so freaking tired, It's just so hard and exhausting, and it's so lonely. And, like in a situation like that, I could talk to my mom. Yes, I talk to my mom often, but it did not feel that feeling. It did not replace that feeling of loneliness in my relationship. Did you guys see that hair? Drive me crazy. It did not replace that sense of loneliness in my relationship. I have a very dear friend. We were besties, tight. And, she did things in life that I did not agree with and I did not trust. And it is so hard to be around that person because I'm always wondering what they're needing, what they're doing. Are they being honest? Are they not? Is this happening? Is this happening? And it's just so mentally exhausting to be in that friendship that the best thing that I can do is love them from afar, wish them well, and go on. I cannot put myself in that position. I cannot feel comfortable. I cannot feel safe. At one point, I did in life, but it's not fulfilling now. I cannot trust them. And I cannot trust them because of the things that they did in their life that I didn't agree with. I knew that it was trouble, and it ended up being trouble, and then it's just bad. So that relationship, had to fall wayside because I cannot trust them anymore. Like I just cannot trust them. And then when I was with them, well, nothing focused on our relationship. It focused on my nieces. It focused on that kind of stuff. It wasn't anything pertinent to an actual true relationship or friendship with her. It was all for the greater good of my nieces. What do you do to build that trust? What do you do to get that trust in a relationship? Like, how do you get to the point where you say, man, I trust you? Well, let me kind of talk about it, okay? Again, trust is going to be big, so bear with me. You have to be open to trust somebody, and that's hard, especially if you're, been in relationships with people that have made you not trust before, or you have friendships that have done things that have hurt you and betrayed you. So you have to really talk to each other, communicate with each other, tell each other how you feel, tell each other what you want, tell each other what you expect. You have to find ways to connect. You have to, when you say you're going to do something, do it, damn it. Don't forget, don't push it to the side. You have to follow through with the commitments that you make. Because if you don't follow through, all that's going to do is going to embed that thought of trust not being there. They can't trust you. Listen to the other person. Be present in that relationship. Hear what they are trying to tell you. Don't assume you know anything. Listen, okay? Create experiences together to see if there's something new that you can do. For example, okay? In all of my life, I can honestly tell you, I have never been able to get with somebody, be with somebody, and be able to tell them everything about me. My good, my bad, my ugly. And I did that with William, and I opened myself up to being, I guess you could say, vulnerable to him. And I allowed him into every little deep pocket that I have in my soul. And it may have been hard and it could have been judgmental, but he didn't do that. He listened. He was present for the conversations that I had. And he acknowledged who I was. He acknowledged my conversations. He acknowledged my needs. He met me with open arms. So therefore, the trusting him was very easy. It was very, very easy. Because he did not make me feel uncomfortable or unwanted. He made me feel as if I was valued as a human, not for what's happened to me, but for who I am. And it made it comfortable to lean into that. Now I can honestly tell you, I trust him basically with all that I have. If he did anything at this point, and I'll be 100% with y'all. It's taken years for this to happen. Him and I had lived two different kind of lifestyles. I mean, yeah, we'd met each other long ago, but when we reconnected, we were on different prospects, and had different lifestyles. And it took us talking, and it took trial, and it took those hard times, and it took us I'll throw myself under the bus before I would throw him. So essentially I told you that my last marriage, well, my only marriage ended with divorce, right? And after he found out he cheated on me, I had probably 9 months, 10 months to really focus on being the crazy wife, where I looked at every text, I looked at every log, I looked at everything. Made me so exhausted. It was so draining, and it was so lonely. So when I got with William, one of our biggest first incidents was the devil's advocate. For some reason I felt insecure, and I broke his trust because we weren't at the point in our relationship to where I should have been going through his phone at all. I did. It happened. And therefore he really, it broke his trust, y'all. It crushed his thoughts for me. I mean, he wasn't expecting that. I should have been honest with him. I should have talked to him about my feelings, and that's what he said. He's like, why didn't you just talk to me? Well, shit, because I'm not used to just talking about a feeling and it being okay. I had to... Essentially, my ex-husband was like, just do it. Just follow me wherever, do whatever, because it's going to make you feel better. He didn't want to talk about it. He just wanted me to do it. So that's what I did. And damn it. That really was not a good idea, because it crushed a big part of our relationship early in the beginning. And it made it hard, I had to gain back trust. I had to seek out my therapist, and I had to discuss where I was at in that. And it was nothing against him. It was all me and my insecurities because of where I was at. And so I had to work through, you know, talking to her about expectations and where I was at and healing my own wounds. And so, did I have to work a little bit harder to get that trust back? Hell yeah, I did. Hell yeah, I did. I had to be as open as an open book. If I wanted to know something, I had to ask. And it went as far as he put a passcode on his phone for a while. Yep, sure did. Did I deserve that to happen? Sure did. Sure did. Because I should have trusted that I could have communicated with him. So that's when I say, like, it's not all peaches and cream. You know, it wasn't easy. We didn't meet, get together, and life be easy. There's been things that have happened. Like I said, I will blast myself out before I ever blast him out. Not my story to tell on him. So, but I will tell you that when I say that, know that, and I'm not trying to point him out, there's other things in this relationship that we've had to work on. Right? There's trust issues through and through. Like, it's just really there. And so it took us being willing to be committed to each other. And this is how committed and open we became with each other. So, like, one night we were sitting there and he's like, I don't want to lie to you anymore. I'm like, ooh. He's like, I can't tell you that I love you because I really don't know what love is. Oh. Okay. Hit my heart really hard. It was very, very hard. But then I listened to what he said. He did not say he didn't love me because I'm bad. He didn't say he didn't love me because of anything that I did. He didn't say that he didn't want to be with me. And I asked him a question. I'm like, okay, so you don't want to tell me you love me, but do you want to be with me? Can you see something there? Can there be, you know, if he's like, yes, I want to be with you. I enjoy you and I enjoy what we do and how the life that we have. That was a solid conversation. So for months, and I mean months, we didn't say I love you to each other. You know, we just didn't. Because, you know, he knew how I felt. We had communicated that. I knew how he felt. And I needed him to feel it in his heart. I needed him to feel it in his core. And he needed to trust that I would be there even if he didn't tell me that he loved me. Because he's been so hurt in the past, or he's been so skewed in the past, whatever, that love's a big word, and he just wasn't sure what it was. But he knew he didn't want to be without me. Okay? Guys, that's trust. That's a trust. That's building trust. He opened every ounce of him to me and to be very raw and real with me. Well, how the hell from that conversation do you just not even love the boy more? Like, come here and let me hug you. And thank you for being honest with me. And thank you for letting me trust you. And good Lordy, that's heavy. And today, every call ends with I love you. And every time that he leaves, it's I love you. And it's where it needs to be because he was able to process and heal. And he was able to do what he needed to do to mend in his heart and soul, whatever he needed to feel that. And that's freaking deep. And people think I'm crazy. I mean, like, how do you accept that he just stopped telling you that he loved you one day? Well, because I care for him a lot and that I want to trust what he says. And if it's important to him, I want to listen and be present. And to be present means that I hear what he said. And he didn't say that he didn't want to be with me. I asked all the questions, so I needed to stay here. I needed to stay in this relationship. I needed to not run. I needed to listen, and I needed to be present, and I needed to know his expectation, and he needed to know my expectation of this, and we went on. And it just blossomed from there, And dang it, I just love the guy, and enjoy spending every day that I can with him. So it's very healthy, you know? had he not done that and he just kept saying, I love you, I love you, I love you, and then one day he's like, 30 years from now, I should have told you I loved you when I didn't love you. That would have been horrible. Horrible. Because he would have compressed those feelings and he wouldn't have trusted me with all of that. So he would have never had that trust had he had to wait that long. And I think the endearment of that is that he trusted me enough to say what he needed to say and communicate his feelings, and for me to do what I needed to do for me and for him. Okay? I know that was hard. It wasn't easy. So trust is big, and it is huge, and it is mighty, and it takes time, and it takes commitment, and it takes being honest and loyal, and it takes communication, and it takes, some would say practice. You got to practice to trust somebody. You got to practice to learn that loyalty. You got to practice being loyal in some instances. Like, you've got to really, truly pull all of you and be completely 100% with others. And do that with every relationship. If you can't have a friendship where you can be like, dude, your hair looks like shit, don't be in that relationship. Don't be in that friendship. Don't be in that kind of a situation. My bestie from work, I could be like, man, your hair's frizzy. And she'd be like, yeah, I know. And she'd be like, Diane, what'd you do? That looks horrible. Oh, okay. Because we trust each other. My best friend from ever, I don't talk to her for months. She lives 30 miles down the road, okay? But when we get together, we pick up, and it's like old times. Because we've had a friendship that was built on a lot of foundations. And we've had fights and arguments, and we've had bad times and good times. But through it all, the consistency is that, we care, and we want to be in each other's lives, There for a while, I didn't trust my mom. I didn't trust, she did some really off stuff. I learned that it wasn't her doing that off stuff. It was the mental health issues, So you have to take in consideration the situation. And you have to use your body, your mind, your soul, your heart to be able to understand where that trust can be laid, right? I trust that I can tell you guys my story and I can be who I am. And the good thing about that is my expectation for this is that you're going to like it or you're going to hate it. Either way, I'm happy and content. And I love what I do, right? So there you have it. This is going to be, like I said, several parts. So there's so much to this. And they can intertwine together. But just know that the foundation of relationship is trust. And that starts, like I said, when you're a wee baby. You have to learn that trust, and it starts at home. And if you are seeing and, that trust is not given or trust is given, you tend to mimic what you've seen, And it forms, that little piece of you. What is it? Blank mind. Who you are, not your, kind of like your guidelines, what you agree upon. Anyways, you start forming that for yourself, as you get older. Not ethics or background. I don't know what it is. It'll hit me later, and then I'll be like, oh, that's it. But until then, just know that, what I'm saying is that you start learning what trust is from a really young age. And, because of your experiences in your life and what happens in situations, trust can be really, really hard to give. And some people will make you earn that trust. Some people will give you all the trust until you give them a reason not to trust. So depending on what your life has been, probably going to determine where you're at with that, right? But in any relationship that you're looking at, you need to be able to look within and say, can I truly trust this person? Do they give me the pieces of what we've discussed? Do they, are they always there? Show up when they say they're going to do what they say they're going to do, say what they're, everything that they do is in line or not. And if it's not, reevaluate that relationship. Because there is no reason to be in a relationship, a friendship, anything kind of ship until you have trust. Because I'm not going to go on no ship until I can trust it, right? Not at all. So yeah, that's part one, trust. And we're going to, like I said, just take little pieces and just little bits of each, and then we'll go from there. But I'll be back with part two. We're going to talk about communication and all that it is. So come back and hear some more. Thanks, guys. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and just hit that notification bell so that you can see when the communication comes out. Bye, guys. When